So I think it's about that feeling of belonging and eventually, fulfilling your American dream.
So did you know it's even possible as a foreigner to buy a home here in America? The good news is yes. A lot of you guys come here to America to study and graduate and then stay here and work a while. And settling, do you want to rent? Do you want to buy a home? Well, in this video, we're going to help you guys figure out how to buy your dream home here in America, step by step, pros and cons, and give you a helpful guide to make a good decision, a good investment, and help you guys have a good experience here in America. Hey friends, welcome to Chime Coaching. Rob here, and we love helping international students and professionals be successful in their cross-cultural journeys. And we're going to talk about something a little bit farther down the road in your journey, which is kind of maybe settling here in America and investing in property and real estate, maybe your own home. And our friend Dilpreet here today has been through that journey himself recently, as my family has as well. And we're really excited to talk about buying your dream home here in America. Dilpreet, go ahead and introduce yourself, buddy.
Oh, thanks so much, Rob. I'm Dilpreet Singh. I came to the United States in 2015 fall to get my master's in ITM. Guess where? University of Texas, Dallas. And I graduated in spring of 2017. I was the commencement speaker for the class. And then, in fact, in 2016 itself, during the summer, I got an internship with New York Life Insurance. Interned for them for the whole school year, and they hired me as full-time. I've been with them for almost now 5 years. I'm working as a solution architect, have done a lot of different projects and project management. On top of that, I'm a realtor, a real estate agent, AKA, for Keller Williams here in urban Dallas office. And crucial part, which I would love to mention, is about my lovely wife. We got married in 2019. And that's when the first thought occurred to me of buying our first home in 2019. And since then, you've been really passionate about real estate and finally decided to pursue a path of entrepreneurship and becoming a realtor. So I'm happy to be here, connect with all my fellow UTD commits, specifically international community, and help them through the process of how to buy your dream home. And thanks so much, Rob and Chai Coaching for this opportunity.
Yeah, this is great. This is actually a question that people ask about, but it really gets talked about or taught about, there isn't many resources out there for foreigners about this. And so you being a previous international student, working here now after graduation, having a family, wanting to settle down, this is going to be great to help other people consider their options. And so let's jump right in. Dilpreet, what do people have to do? What's the process? How does someone buy their dream home here in America?
So the process can be really complex. And as you said, we'll break it down step by step. So guys, buying a home in US or in general anywhere is probably the biggest decision we ever take in our life, both financially and emotionally, right? So from financial perspective, the first question you want to ask yourself is, what can I or we actually afford? How much money can we put down, or those sort of things. So in terms of that, the first thing which I tell people always to do is get a pre-approval letter. What that means is you reach out to the lenders who basically give you mortgage for your home. You talk to multiple lenders and talk to them and like, hey, how much money can I get? What does the interest rate looks like? How much money do I have to pay upfront? And those sort of things. So when you have that pre-approval letter, you can afford a $300,000 house or 350 or 400 based on your income and all that profile. So that's the first thing. Get a pre-approval letter. Few things to highlight here is what lenders look for when they're trying to pre-approve you is obviously credit score. I know, Rob, you recently did a video on credit, how to build a credit in America. Totally relevant, 100%, right? I think that's the thing somebody needs to do day one when they come to US.
Be sure to check out that video, friends. We'll have the link there. But yeah, credit score and credit history is going to be a crucial part for you to be qualified to buy a house here in America.
Right. So that's one thing. Second is your income and assets. How's your monthly annual income? How much money do you really get paid? And any related assets such as 401k or any investment accounts, savings, and all those sort of things. The third thing, which is crucial, is debt to income ratio. Now you will ask, what's that? So debt to income ratio is, let's say you earn $5,000 a month and you're paying for your car, you're paying some sort of a student loan, a personal loan. So all of those adds up. And let's say that amount is, I don't know, maybe $3,000 a month, hypothetically. Now it's more than 50% of your annual or monthly income. That's a negative point. So ideally, you want to be below 43%. That's what lenders look for. That makes them feel that you have the capability and capacity on your monthly salary to pay the mortgage every month. So that's a critical factor. And then the last but not the least is the down payment. How much money are you willing to pay upfront? Ideally, mortgage people, lenders love 20%. A lot of people don't know that, but you can pay as low as 3% or 3.5 if you're getting a FHA loan or just a 5% for a conventional loan. But obviously, the more you pay upfront, the less will be your monthly installment. But these are some of the factors to look for and make sure to get that pre-approval from the lender.
Yeah. So some of those key words you talked about again is, pre-approval letters, credit scores, debt to income ratio, down payments. We're not going to go into all of that, but you can easily Google, find out what those mean. Those are key words that you have to be aware of to buy a house. Now, let's say you are pre-approved, you've got the right numbers and all the things lined up, you've got that letter. Where do you start? How do you start actually looking at options?
Yeah, I think the first thing which comes down to location. Where do you, see yourself living? Is that more of a urban living or more of a suburban living, maybe somewhere in between? So based on that, you just kind of, shortlist your areas that, hey, let's say, here, do I want to live in Dallas? Or do I want to move to McKinney, Prosper, those suburban areas? That's, again, a personal preference. But the major thing is, within each of those areas, you want to look for the specific neighborhood. Dallas has a lot of different neighborhoods, Midway Hollow, Preston Hollow, Highland Park, University Park. So all of these areas, like if there's a personal preference, that's good. But otherwise, sometimes, people have kids, they want them to go to specific schools, looking for those school districts. So definitely those sort of points, based on your preferences. And then the second thing is proximity to office. I know, guys, we're all working from home, so we don't really have to worry about going to the office. But once we're back in that routine, you don't want to be traveling like stuck in the traffic 2 hours, right? So making sure the office is within, let's say, 20 minutes, a small drive is always a helpful thing. And then one thing which I personally like is how close is the airports, both domestic and international. It's just a good thing to have, I guess, rather than that's my personal choice. But again, those are the things you need to ask yourself. And then eventually, last but not the least, is the lifestyle and restaurants. Do you want to live close by where you have a bunch of nice restaurants, or you don't really care about that? How far are the stores or the nearby market? So these are the things you start exploring when you shortlist those areas and kind of go about it. Hey, what fits for you as an individual, or maybe if you're married or have a family, what's the right fit for you?
Yeah, I remember when we were getting advice when we bought our home, location was the most important thing, because that's the one thing you can't change about your house. You can remodel your house, you can upgrade your house, you can't move your house. And so location is the biggest factor to choose before you figure anything else out.
No, definitely. And I think one thing to highlight here is a lot of time people will move to an area, and this is more of a real estate concept, that never buy a nicer house in a neighborhood where the other homes are lesser as compared to the value. Always buy a smaller home, maybe based on your budget, in a nicer neighborhood.
Yep.
That's just the investment principle, right?
Yeah, you want to be the smallest house in the nicer neighborhood is one suggestion or one idea to think about when you're looking in homes and neighborhoods.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think the next thing really comes is, what do you want in your home? How many bedrooms do you want? And a lot of people want 2 offices right now, maybe 3, because they have a kid working, doing their homework on Zoom, right? So those sort of things come into play. Do you want an attached garage, maybe? How many bathrooms you want? A lot of people I've seen have a preference for a half guest bathroom when people come over. And just in general, what kind of house do you like in terms of architecture? A craftsman style, a basic, mid-century kind of style, or a modern house. So those sort of things, I think and especially if you're a couple, I would always say, walk together, talk together, and see what your preferences are, because a lot of time I see, in my clients or people I've worked with, there's a lot of clash between the requirements. So, but once you know what you really need, it gets really easy.
What are ways people can actually then go tour the houses, and how does a realtor factor into those kind of things?
So I think we live in a digital world, right? So the first thing is to just start touring, homes from an app. I have my personalized app. I use it all the time. It just becomes easy because there is 3D tours, good pictures, a lot of good information, which you can filter out that, hey, do I even want to look at the house? Or maybe it doesn't meet my criteria, so you just leave it alone. And then what you can do is you can do a saved search. So you can have all that criteria saved in the app. So whenever that new house hits the market, it will notify you. And these days there's a shortage of houses everywhere to buy. So I think that's a really nice way to do that. And obviously, I think the factor of realtor really comes into place, because eventually when you want to buy a house, you need a realtor to write the contract and get the paperwork done. Second, they have all the in-depth details. They have access to the data. history of the property, the neighborhood, schools, and everything. So they should be your trusted resource. At this point of time, when you're looking for houses, start looking for a realtor you can work with. And from that point onwards, one, you have a resource who can guide you on each and every step and help with all the paperwork involved.
Definitely. And searching for realtors and lenders, if you find one or the other, typically if you have a good lender, they can recommend a good realtor. Or if you have a good realtor, they can recommend a good lender because they all work together. So those are good ways, start with your friends, get, referrals, talk to people that, have had good experiences versus, because, people have also had really bad experiences too. And so
Right.
there is certain requirements and standards for realtors in America compared to other countries, but it doesn't mean they're all good. So you want to make sure you have a good person that's out for your interest and is not just trying to make money off of you. So I think that's really important.
No, definitely. And I think when you work with a realtor, it's not just that one person. As you said, there's lender, and there will be the title company who's giving you the paperwork for the home, and you work with the home inspector who inspects your home. There are a lot of people involved till you move, and even after you moved, you need, as a new homeowner, you need help on a day-to-day basis working with different vendors. So that realtor is your to-go guy for everything. So if you find a good person, stick with them because they can help you a lot.
Just as it's really good to test drive a car before you buy it, you want to test drive your house. And after you kind of shortlist everything from all the online research, you begin to go tour the homes. That's a great thing. The realtors can help set all that up as well. But talk about touring the home and how people can search and make good decisions when they're actually there looking at the homes with the realtor.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think one thing to really highlight here, Rob, is since everything is digital, everything can be made or look shiny and pretty, right? So it's important. Look at the functional needs. If a house meets your functional requirement, don't just rely on the picture. Go take a look in person. Good photos and staging of the house can be misleading. That's one thing for sure. Second is drive around the neighborhood, right? Do you imagine yourself living in that area, right? And I think for me, when I got this house, which was probably, I don't know, my 50th or 60th house I looked at, the moment I walked in, I was like, this is it, right? So you will get to start getting those answers for yourself as you start touring homes in person. But always don't rely on the decor or staging. Look past it. See if the house works for you. Is it functional enough for you? And those sort of things. And any questions for any property, as we were talking about, consulting the realtor, because they have a history of the property, right? They can say what has happened, who owned it, the tax information, the school information, those things which will factor in you making a decision to buy that house or not, can be provided by your realtor. So ask the question.
Definitely. About on average, how many houses do people tour before they make a decision or make an offer?
Man, guess there would have been an answer to that. I don't think anyone has really been able to figure that out.
Okay.
It just varies so much. Some people I've seen, some of my clients, they just walked into their first house and they're like, oh, we love it, we're going to take it. And some people, they will just keep touring house over house, and they're still not, this is not it. For me personally, it was changing experience. We wanted a move-in ready, modern open house concept, right? I saw probably 20 of such houses. And then at the end of that, I'm like, I actually don't like these houses anymore. I want a little character in the house. I ended up buying this house, which was renovated, but built in 1950. So you actually learn through the process and your priorities change, right? So knowing what you don't need or don't want is a good thing too. And you're one step closer to what you really want.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I like how you suggest, tour the neighborhood, not just the house, get familiar with the area, see if you can envision yourself there. And if you're not scared, go talk to some of the neighbors. Like I know people that will just go and knock on some doors, or in the evening, go talk to some neighbors and just talk to them, get their feeling, and that'll give you a good idea of what you're getting yourself into. You're not just buying a house, but you're also buying a neighborhood, that you're a part of, a community, and you got to feel like that's a good place for you and your family, and those kind of things as well. So do your research so there's no surprises.
And just more of a disclaimer, Rob, here. I know we are in a different world today with COVID, and a lot of things around how people see houses, how you work with your realtor has changed.
Yes.
If you are touring homes or you're talking to the neighborhood, make sure you're practicing social distancing, all those things to comply, because things have changed. It's not the same anymore.
Definitely. Yeah. There's a lot more precaution going on. I totally agree. We want to be careful with that. So you've toured some homes. There's one that you really like. You want to move forward, what are those final steps to actually move forward and make it happen?
Well, you just move in. Just kidding. There's a lot of different things which has to go through after you like a house. You have to put an offer. Hypothetically, let's say a house is listed for $350,000, and you're like, you know what, I like this house, but I want to pay 320 or 330. Your realtor will come into place at that point of time. They will give you the different market analysis for you that, hey, a house like this neighborhood, how much does it cost? And they will give you a number that, hey, I think at least this is the value of the house. Now it's dependent on your personal choice since you're going to buy the home. So they will help you make your offer more competitive. And once you put in the offer, there might be some negotiation going back and forth, which obviously your realtor will help with the seller. But if everything goes well, if offer gets accepted, then basically you get the house. But there are certain steps till you really can move in. The first of them is basically the home inspection. I'm sure you probably went through the home inspection yourself. And for people who don't really know it, it's just a sort of a thing which you have to get done to make sure everything in the house is functional. There are no issues, especially from a security perspective and a health hazard perspective. If there are issues, then you can maybe work with the seller to negotiate the money for that, or get money for the repairs, or ask them to do the repair themselves. So those sort of things. So always not just from a perspective of getting a home inspection for a formality. I think it's a good negotiation point to get a little more for your money.
The inspection, the foundation had issues in this house that hadn't been repaired a long time. So the seller from our house, under the contract, had to repair the foundation of the house and get all that work done on his own, with his costs, before everything could be finalized, before the sale could go through. So that was one of the results from our inspection, and glad that it was taken care of.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest thing, house. So some of the big things while you talk is foundation, roof. All these are big things. So you definitely want to make sure you get that inspection out of the way. While you're working on inspection, there will be a bunch of paperwork happening, and your realtor will help you with that. One of that is looking for options to get a home insurance policy. Just like how we get our new car, and we have to have to have an auto insurance policy before we can take it out from the showroom. So before we can move into the house, we need to show the home is insured. And there is one thing, since you got pre-approved from your lender, now you can tell them that, hey, this is the house I'm looking to buy. You pre-approved me for $350,000, and this house is for $400, let's say. So they're going to look, hey, first, good for pre-approval. This time they might really run your credit check. They run through all the details. They will ask for a lot of documentations. Nothing to be frustrating, get frustrated. Work with your realtor if you have any questions. But basically what they're checking is the value of the house truly what the loan you're getting? And it's called as home appraisal, nothing else, right? So because they want to make sure if the house value is less, but you're taking a loan for more amount, it's not practical. So those are some things, checks and balances, the mortgage and the lender team, they're doing on your behalf. If everything looks good, you'll move to a closing day, which is basically you get together with your realtor and the title company to sign a lot of paperwork.
A lot of paperwork.
A lot of paperwork. And I've seen a lot of that is being handled through Zoom as well these days because of COVID. And soon after that, I think within 1 or 2 hours, or maybe just right after that, you get the key to your home. And hey, congratulations, you're a homeowner now. Time to move in.
It's done. Yeah. I mean, it's a really fun, it's a big moment for sure, when especially the first time you do it, so, and you get to celebrate, which is really fun. We've got a couple important things to cover here at the end of the video, but real quick, first of all, if you guys are loving what Dilpreet's sharing, it's really helpful. Give a big like and thumbs up, just say thanks to Dilpreet. And then we've got a chai question for you guys for this video. And our chai question for you guys is, do you prefer renting or owning? Some people love the convenience and amenities of renting a home or renting an apartment. Some people want to invest or like the opportunity of owning a home and changing things. So let us know in the comments, would you prefer renting, owning a home? And also if you have any other questions about home buying, home ownership, throw those in the comments as well. We've got a couple of things to wrap up here with. There's definitely pros and cons and big benefits to home ownership. Dilpreet, first let's talk about the financial benefit of buying a home, even though it sounds like you're spending so much money.
Well, the first thing is when you close on your house, your realtor gets you a bottle of champagne. So I don't know if that matters, but definitely, saying good segue here. Financial benefits. One of the biggest one I've seen is the homestead exemption. Just to break it down in very simple terms, let's say your house is $400,000, but you will only pay property tax on $375,000. Right? So in a way, you have an opportunity as a homeowner to save that money on property taxes because you live in the house. So that's one small benefit. Obviously, if you have a business or you work from home, there are a lot of different tax write-offs you can get. My wife, we have a little bakery we run out of our house. right? So obviously when the time for taxes comes, that's our office. We work out of that. Those are opportunities to kind of, get your tax write-offs and save some money on the annual federal taxes. More than that, it's a long-term investment. So every month when you pay a mortgage payment, you are building equity. You're buying that portion of your house. I know you get the mortgage up front, but then you're starting to pay back every month. And with small chunks, I know the principal might be a little less and interest is pretty huge, but still you're owning a little bit of the house every month as compared to renting where the rent is just going away from you. It's never coming back. So I think that's definitely one of the biggest advantage of buying over renting is building equity. Last, which I don't think a lot of people think about, but today's world it's possible is a lot of revenue generating businesses from home. Like, hey, you might have a one bed, one bath separated from the main house. You can rent it out and get some money towards your mortgage, right? Or just do Airbnb. That's the cool concept people do. If you are traveling for a week, why not let your house on Airbnb? So a lot of those things are getting more popular, as you might have seen. So a lot of different ways to, hey, not just making payments to the house and owning, and also a lot of different ways to offset that cost. Then why would you spend the same money on rent where the money is gone? So I think those are some of the key financial benefits. Anything from your end you might have seen?
Yeah, I mean, I love just, when we first came here to the Dallas, so we were renting a house, and I just felt like I was flushing that money down the toilet every month. But now I own a house and I'm building investment, earning equity. It's exciting seeing the property values go up, steadily over time. And so, it's nice that your money's working for you. And when you're buying a house, and in a lot of places, your mortgage payment can actually be cheaper than a rent payment. Not always everywhere, but in a lot of ways that is possible. So you actually have a little bit more extra money in your monthly budget.
Glad you brought that up. As you might know, interest rates are somewhere around 2.6%. It's like, guys, nothing. It's historic low interest rates that, hey, if you can buy a home, but just by paying 2.6% interest rate, I think that has changed the game. And you might have seen a lot of people are buying since COVID happened. One, they need bigger space or more office space. And I personally feel it's probably a longer term change that people will continue working from home and need more space in their homes. But I think the good point is the interest rates are low. So if you have been thinking about it, maybe that's a good time to go about it.
Because with how big this investment is, it is a lot of money. There's a lot of emotions, but the last thing you want to wrap up with is, emotional benefits. What do people need to think about that?
See, the first thing when I, moved to States was, okay, you feel good about it. Hey, you're in States. But the real sense of pride and confidence or self-belief is when I really bought my house. This is my own space. I can do whatever I want with it, right? Own space to enjoy with family, friends. I had a really nice apartment before, and it will get a little clustered when everybody's over. Right now, having that space obviously helps. And the second thing is, you can make changes. We have done so many renovations to the house since we moved in, right? And it's been an exciting process. Renovating our backyard, having that space to us. Those emotional factors cannot go away. I know a lot of people sometimes say, yes, even if you're paying a little more, as compared to renting, but what about that aspect of enjoying it, the home with your family, friends? So that's definitely one of them. Last but not the least is the feeling of belonging. I know a lot of people move to States for a better quality of life, get a better job, better paycheck. What's after that? If we are really looking to improve our quality of life and have a sense of belonging, I think that starts with having your own home. We have so many memories where we grew up back in our home country, right? And it's so close to us. Similarly, this is the opportunity for us to live our adulthood and for our kids, giving them that home and the same feeling we had growing up. So I think it's about that feeling of belonging and eventually fulfilling your American dream. And I said sense of pride and confidence. There's no match for that.
Yeah, definitely. It is something special to actually say, I own my own home. It is a point of pride. And we love having people over. We had a big housewarming party when we first moved in. And those are all really fun, special things for sure. And thankful for the home that we've been stuck in, this past, almost year now. So having a place that you enjoy is really important these days. But Dilpreet, any final closing thoughts or tips you want to leave people with as they're considering all these, a lot of factors to consider?
Right. So I think that's where, when we talked about emphasis on getting your trusted real estate partner, because yes, as you might have seen, it can get complex, right? And you need help by your side. But at the same time, I always say people or tell my clients or my family friends, as we know from the movie Spider-Man, right? With great power comes great responsibilities, right? But the power of home ownership, you gotta analyze and make sure how much potential risk is involved, right?
Mhm.
And what are your potential responsibilities? You will have to, cut your own grass, for example. That's your responsibility. It's your house. You got to keep it clean, right? And those sort of things which you might be getting and renting, but now since it's your own, so there is that sense of responsibility as well. From financial perspective, does it make sense for you to buy a house? Can you afford it? Going back to the first point, right? So what's your financial responsibility here? And if any potential risks is involved, talk to the experts. So as I said, work with your trusted real estate partner. At the end of the day, if you moved here, you have got your job, you want to settle here, I would say the true feeling of fulfilling your American dream comes after buying your home. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook. My username is at Homie Singh, and I would look forward to connecting with you all.
Yeah, we'll put in the comments how you guys can connect with Dilpreet online. And Dilpreet, thanks so much. This brought back a lot of memories from our recent home buying process. And so it was a great refresher for me. And I think hopefully this information will just help people see that it's possible. It's like, it's okay, I can do that. It's not that bad. And there's so much help and resources here too, which is wonderful. You don't do it on your own. Dilpreet, thanks so much. This has been fun. I know it's going to help a lot of people.
No, thanks for having me. Thanks for Chai and coaching. And thank you, Rob.
Yeah, and everyone, you guys, China Coaching, we want to help you guys be successful in your cross-cultural journeys, even to the point of, buying a home here in America. So be sure to subscribe, connect with us online on social media. We want to continue you guys to thrive in your journeys. And thanks so much for tuning in. And we'll see you guys next time at China Coaching. Cheers.